Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We are joined by our friend Travis McGhee with FuturesANIMal, and this morning we are going to be talking about an interesting subject, certainly for me, the world of alternative investments, what they are, and how does a retail trader access such investments. So first off, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
How are you this morning?
I'm great. I'm warm.
I know,
so.
and you're lucky because you live reasonably close, but where you were coming from, you say it was still kind of tough.
It was still tough getting in, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that snow kind of took me by surprise this morning, I'm not going to lie.
Did a lot of us. We were just saying how according to some of our forecasts, that wasn't supposed to happen this morning. But we are happy to be here, happy to have you here, of course, to get our weekly update on what's happening in the world of finance. So like I was saying, first off, what is an alternative investment, and what does that involve?
So first off, it's a term that kind of freaks people out initially, because you hear it and you think, oh, you know, I have a hard time with regular investments. How am I going to understand alternative investments? All alternative investments is just a term for anything outside of the basic investment vehicles, which would be stocks, bonds, and cash. Anything outside of that is an alternative investment. Real estate is an alternative investment. And then you can get into more complex type of investing instruments, which my firm specializes in, which, you know, you have derivatives, so you have options and futures and commodities, you know, oil, gold, silver, stuff of that nature is considered an alternative investment as well. And all it's meant to do is help the investor diversify what they're investing in. And you hear that all the time, especially with, you know, you might hear someone say, well, you know, you have a lot, you know, that you're pouring into a 401k or a savings account. This might be an opportunity to start looking at real estate because home valuations are down, you know, interest rates are down, so on and so forth. So it's just looking at alternative areas to put your money rather than simply just stocks and bonds.
And so alternative investments have not always been available to the average investor. Why is that the case?
Well, historically they haven't been, except for real estate. When you start talking about futures and options and these crazy sounding instruments, which really aren't that crazy at all, they're quite simply, I mean, they're as you know, they're as easy to comprehend as stocks and bonds. It just takes a little bit more understanding and education to get over that learning curve with. But the reason that historically they haven't been available to retail investors is there's been a huge barrier of entry to get in there. The regulators, per se, have looked at these instruments and said, well, they're just too complex and risky for your average investor. So we're going to make it really tough to invest in these type of areas. So we're going to require, you know, a $500,000 account at a minimum. We're going to require that you've had so many years of experience investing, so on and so forth. Well, as some of these investments have become more commonplace for the world as a whole, regulators have started to pull back some of the stringent requirements that they have for these investments, and which has allowed companies like mine to really open the door to average people to diversify their investments with, you know, in these areas.
So even go a little bit more into that, because like you said, historically those have not always been available to your average trader, average investor. Why should we feel confident in moving forward into these alternative investments, especially, you know, if we are newer to this?
Here's the thing. So there's a lot of myths around alternative investments which have really kept the retail investor out. And I think by, you know, hashing those myths out and letting the retail investor know, one, you know, alternative investments like futures and options can help you control risk inside of a portfolio, whereas other investments can't. They're instruments that are used for that, for hedging. Just like a farmer uses futures to hedge price fluctuations in their corn or their wheat or whatever crop, you can do the same thing with your stocks inside of a portfolio. So there's that. There's also the ability, you know, a lot of people in markets today where the market moves quite a bit very, very fast, tend to lose sleep at night on that volatility, thinking, well, what happens tomorrow if I wake up and the market's down, you know, 20%? What's going to happen to my investment? Again, alternative investments allow you the ability to control that risk and to dampen the volatility into your portfolio. So there are a lot of benefits that alternative investments like futures, options, commodities, real estate, so on and so forth, and power that those investments provide you, that really give you an added edge in staying ahead of where you want to be with your finances. So it's certainly an area, if nothing else, that you just explore and educate yourself on, especially now. Again, like I said, with it readily available, more so now than it was even 5 years ago, to just average investors. It's certainly something worth looking into.
Mm-hmm. So for that investor who has not approached this realm of alternative investing, how would they even start in terms of what do they need to take into account to consider which one they even need to go for in the first place? I know that's something that FuturesANIMal can certainly assist with.
No, absolutely. Well, for one thing, most people have already started. If you own real estate, you're already there. Now, people just don't look at it. That's when people don't look at real estate as an investment necessarily. It's a place to live, right? It's a roof over your head. It's a necessity in life. You have to have it. But that is an alternative investment. Some of the other areas that we were talking about, just like you go find a realtor for real estate, if you have a financial advisor, if you have a broker, someone that you're working for that's a professional in the field, start bouncing some questions off of them. Say, hey, how can I diversify my portfolio and find other opportunities that may exist out in the market? I'm currently in stocks, I'm currently in bonds, maybe I'm just in cash. What are some of the other areas that I can look at? What about the futures market? What about the options market? Is there an opportunity in commodities right now that I can look at? So just start bouncing those ideas off of other people. There's no reason, that's not to say that you necessarily have to go full bore and just start investing in something you don't understand. I'm not saying that whatsoever. The key is to educate yourself, and if anybody's a firm believer in that, I am, and that's something that we take pride in with our clients, is that we make sure that they don't come to us and just hand us money and say invest it. You need to be educated about what you're investing in. My number one rule in investing is if I don't understand it, I will not invest in it. And the same thing should apply for anyone. That goes for real estate, that goes for anything. If you don't understand a particular real estate market or where valuations are at and what's happened over the past couple of years, is probably not an area that you should be buying real estate in immediately until you get yourself over that learning curve. And
I'm certain that lack of education for some people has proven to be not the best road, so it's something they definitely should have taken into consideration in making their choices.
Absolutely.
With that.
Definitely.
So along with that, you kind of touched on this in terms of having that education and some other elements you spoke of. What do you wish that the general population, I guess, knew, like really was able to understand in terms of the word alternative investments, and even going beyond that, conversations that you've had with Joe previously for those, because not all of us are very familiar with the world that you delve into, with how that works. What is it that you wish that everyone could just understand in terms of, this isn't as hard as you think, that's why you utilize someone's services like FuturesANIMal?
Right. What I would say to folks is, in one word, is opportunity. Take away alternative, take away all the complex terms that go on investing. That's the thing, is we tend to overcomplicate investing. When you get a bunch of guys like myself in a room that work in the financial industry, we all like to sound very smart, and you start throwing around terms which really, quite frankly, mean nothing. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out. They mean absolutely nothing. We try to sound smart, but finance is not rocket science. It really isn't. There are some basic principles that everyone needs to know, which basically can carry them through that. That's not to say you shouldn't involve a professional in understanding the complexities of different areas, because all we're bringing to the table as a professional is the fact that we live, eat, and sleep investing, and we're constantly out there doing research and homework that you may not have time to do. That's all we're doing. It's just putting in a little extra legwork. No different than a realtor is putting a little extra legwork into understanding the market. We're providing you with a full picture of what's going on and where different opportunities may exist. So don't push aside other investment opportunities simply because they sound complex, because in reality they might not be that complex and might actually provide you with an opportunity that you don't currently have.
Absolutely, and that's why you need to talk with these guys, so you are aware of those opportunities.
Right.
Like you said,
That's what we
we're
do.
very busy these days, and you
Very
guys
busy.
have made this your field of expertise, and someone we can certainly trust on that. So if someone out there is interested in utilizing your services and working with you guys, what are the first steps they need to take?
Well,
one, first off, if they are starting and have not done this before, and second, if they have already tried.
So we have two great areas. This is a great world to work in right now because it's everything can be done virtually, at least out of the gate. So you can either call us if you're a person that likes to call and physically talk to us. Our brokers and financial advisors answer the phone. You know, we don't necessarily put you into a consultant of any type. So you can give us a call and we can certainly talk to you about what we do and how we can help you via that route. And I'm sure we have the phone number up for the folks to see. Or we also do weekly webinar videos that, you know, one to many, so it's 100-some people in a classroom and you're just watching, and we're basically walking you through the steps of our process and how we're investing in the market on behalf of our clients or alongside of our clients. So that in and of itself is a great way to get a feel for what we're doing and the opportunity, you know, that we present. So.
Wonderful. So we did have your number up there on screen. We can also go to your website as well online to FuturesANIMal. And where's your brick and mortar place of business?
So we have a number of different offices. Our brick and mortar, well, we have two brick and mortars. We have one here in Utah and we also have one in California, in Southern California. And then we have a couple of satellite offices as well.
Very good. Well,
yeah.
Travis, anything else to add this morning?
No, well, I hope everybody gets to where they're going safely with the snow.
I do as well.
It was a bear getting in.
Absolutely.
So.
I know. Well, we were certainly happy to have you here, and thank you for the
thank
conversation. I've learned a lot, so thanks for your
Yeah,
time.
you're welcome.
We look forward to next week.
So do I.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break, and when we do, we'll be talking about the Park City Haggis Rugby.